Hello, my name is Lizzie, and this is Lizzie's Literary Life, and today is the most exciting video probably ever in the history of YouTube, because today we are announcing the Ancient Wonders Readathon. So, the Ancient Wonders Readathon, or Wonderthon for short, is a readathon created by my very own self it's strategy based, it's team based, it's lots of complicated rules and points, and basically I wanted to create a readathon that felt like a strategy board game. And so this readathon is inspired by the video game Civilization and the board game Seven Wonders. And it is a team-based strategy readathon where we read books, we earn points, we compete, we go head-to-head, and someone comes out victorious.
Hello, this is Editing Webcam Lizzie to let you know that when I filmed this video, I was so excited and so energetic that literally none of the words that came out of my mouth made sense. So I, here, this Lizzie, will be interjecting periodically to let you know, hopefully calmly and effectively, what is actually going on in this readathon. But I didn't want to completely refilm because I loved the energy of the original take, so you get energy from past Lizzie and actual rules that make sense from this Lizzie right here. Hope that works.
The idea is that we are all ancient cities, four ancient cities, and we are trying to develop our civilization to be the most advanced through developing our culture and our government and our military, and we are just battling it out to be the best city. This readathon, I should tell you when it takes place. It takes place in June, from June 3rd to June 18th, like midnight to midnight, like you have those whole days. So it's like 2 weeks, but like extra weekends because we like weekends. The readathon takes place from 12 a.m. on Saturday, June 3rd to 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, June 18th. I am an EST, so you are welcome to start and end with me in my time zone. You can also do it in your own time zone, whichever works best for you. Just don't cheat and give yourself extra hours by switching time zones. Important things to take away from this intro. You should join, it's going to be really cool, and June 3rd to June 18th. On to the teams. So we have 4 teams. They are all, as I said, based on ancient cities. So we have, oh my gosh. The basic structure of the readathon is that there are 4 teams, each working to build their respective city by reading books and earning points. There are 4 basic ways to earn points: civic, scientific, military, and religion. I'll explain all of those in the next section. Each team is also working towards building their great wonder of the world, which awards them an advantage in one of those categories once it is built. As I introduce the teams, I will let you know which category that advantage is in, but I will explain the categories and advantages in detail later. I also will tell you each team's team genre, which are used for the religion category of points. This is one way to pick what team you want to join. However, you do not have to read this genre exclusively or even at all. There are many ways to earn points, and reading your team genre is only one of them. So don't worry if you want to join a team but not read the genre. That is totally fine. The first team is Rhodes. Rhodes is captained by Ruby from Ruby Red. They get a civics bonus once they build their wonder, which is the Colossus of Rome, basically just a giant golden man. And I love the way that Ruby illustrated Mr. Rhodes. I'll put him on the screen. Ruby Red, captain of Rhodes, did all the graphics. They're incredible. I'm obsessed with them. The team genre for Rhodes, which you do not have to read exclusively or even at all if you join that team, is literary fiction, which I will go more into. I just keep referring to what I'm going to say later, but I'm going to say it later, I promise. Literary fiction here is defined as any fiction book that does not fit into any of the other categories. This includes general fiction, historical fiction, classics, hard-hitting contemporaries, etc. If you are unsure, feel free to ask your team if they think it counts. My answer is probably going to be yes. The second team is Ephesus, and it is co-captained by Ashley from Ashley's Reads and Danielle from Danielle Reads. They are both lovely and wonderful. It's the team genre for religion points, which you will understand later, I hope, is fantasy. And you get a military bonus for building the Temple of Artemis. The third team is Giza, captained by Martine from Just Martine. The genre for religion points is mystery thriller, and there is a scientific bonus once you build the Great Pyramid. And the last team is Babylon, captained by Bailey from Is Bailey Reading. The genre for religion points is romance, and there will be a religious bonus, or religious points bonus, for building the Hanging Gardens. Those are the teams. Choose wisely. All the captains made announcement videos, so I will link them all down below, and you can watch them all, choose based on vibes, choose based on genre, even though you don't totally have to read that genre. Choose based on the beautiful graphics Ruby made. I'm not going to push you in one way or another because I am not on a team, but let the hosts convince you. So, there are 4 ways to earn points. Civics, science, military, and religion. I will talk about each of those in detail. Each book you read can only be used in one of those 4 ways. I'm about to give you so many different point values and different ways to earn points. The submission form is so user-friendly. Not to toot my own horn, toot, but the submission form when you finish a book it just asks you questions about the book. And then you're click, 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 and then it calculates it all for you in the beautiful spreadsheet that I made. So the first category of points is civics. And civics points are pretty simple. It is just a list of prompts, and each prompt gives you a different number of points. Each prompt gives you certain points. Civics points are earned by building buildings and amenities within your city. To earn these points, simply read a book that fills 1 to 3, so up to 3, of the prompts on this list, and you will earn the indicated number of points. You can use the prompts as many times as you want, but you can only use up to 3 prompts per book. So if you finish a book, it fills 1 to 3, up to 3 of these prompts, submit it for civics points, you're going to get those points. Beautiful. Let's go through the prompts real quick. I think most of them are self-explanatory, but I will double check. We have, if you want to build a statue, you can read a book with a beautiful cover. This is up to interpretation. If you want to build some stables, read a book with animals on the cover. Any animals, even vaguely indicated on the cover, counts. You can build the gardens and read a book with plants on the cover. You can build a library and read a borrowed book, mayhaps from your library, mayhaps from Kindle Unlimited, mayhaps from Script, but support your local library. Those prompts are all 1 point. Those 5 prompts are 1 point. There are 4 2-point prompts, and those are the theater, which is to read a book with LGBTQ plus rep. You can build a university, read a book with a school setting. That can be, even if it's a small part of the book, if the character goes to school, it counts. You can build a lighthouse, read a book with a source of light on the cover, a lantern, a lamp, the sun, the moon, what have you. You can build a tavern, read a book featuring food in any way. And those are the 2-point prompts. There are 3 3-point prompts. Those are the laboratory. Sorry, I'm saying weird. I apologize. No. Read a book with green on the cover because I associate science with the color green. Marketplace, read a book set in the real world but not America or the UK. Set anywhere but America and the UK, but not a fantasy world. It has to be the real world. Temple, read a book featuring gods. Whether it's real, featuring gods. It's got gods in it somehow. There are 2 4-point prompts. They are courthouse, read a book set before 2000. This also can be published before, if it was published before 2000, like if it's a classic, it counts, or just like a historical fiction, anything set before 2000. Palace, read a book that features royalty. And then the 5-point prompt is town hall, read a book in translation. Civics prompts, super simple. You can pick up to 3 prompts. You get that many points. Science. Scientific points are a little more complicated. Scientific points are earned. I'll put the graphic up here. Scientific prompts are earned by developing your civilization's scientific knowledge. This is done by completing prompts from the graphic here. However, you must complete these prompts in order. The idea for this is that like science knowledge builds on itself. Like you can't invent a chariot before you invent the wheel type thing. So you have to do the stuff at the top before you get down to the bottom. The prerequisite 2-point prompt must be fulfilled before completing the 4, 8, and 16-point prompts. It's like a flow chart. So the top row is worth 2 points. The next row is worth 4 points. The next row is worth 8 points. And the last row is worth 16 points. You have to do them in order. The thing that makes this a little tricky is that you can double up, but only with 2 prompts. You can use 2 prompts per book, but they have to be in order. So you can use a 2 and a 4, and then an 8 and a 16 with these little scissors. Or you can do 1 book with a 2-point prompt, 2 books, 1 book with a 4 and 8, and 1 with a 16, or you can do 4 books for each one. So 2 prompts per book, up to 2 prompts per book, but they must be in order. And you also have to follow the path. You can't skip across horizontally. Once you finish a 16-point prompt, you can start back up at the top with the 2-point row. There are like examples of exactly how this works in the document linked in the description. Are any of these prompts? Okay, I'm going to run through the prompts so fast. You can skip through it if you want, but I'm going to run through the prompts so fast just to see if there's any I need to explain. The 2-point row has audiobook and ebook. Very simple. 4-point row has middle grade or YA, adult. New release, so new release is either 2022 or 2023. Or backlist. Backlist is 2021 or earlier. That's how I'm defining those. New release, 2022 or recent, more recent. Backlist is 2021 or earlier. The 8-point row has TBR vet. That's just a book that's been on your TBR, been on your radar for a long time. A book that is new to your TBR, something that like you just heard about. Favorite genre, a genre you read less often. A new to you author, an author you've read from before. A book with a female main character, a book with a male main character. These are all the 8-point prompts. And then the 16-point prompts are randomly generated color. So you can go to like a color wheel generator online, generate a color, pick a book based on that color. Randomly generated letter. So you generate a letter, and that letter has to start one of the words in the title or like the author's first or last name. That letter can't just be anywhere on the cover. It has to start one of the words. If you get Q, X, or Z, I am allowing you to regenerate. Though you can maybe like Queen. I feel like X is super hard. Graphic novel. Own voices book. Own voices meaning there's representation from a group that the author is also a part of. Start a new series, continue a series. I did them out of order. Continue a series, start a new series, reread, 5-star prediction, a book you think you're going to love, a debut novel, so the author has never released anything before, a book that has won an award. This can be any award. A book that's less than 250 pages, a book that's greater than 250 pages, a book that has a number of pages that is odd, a book that has a number of pages that is even, a book that has chapter titles, so like it says, I don't know, where's a book that I can show? You know what I mean. The chapters have titles and not just numbers, and then a book with no chapter titles, so there's just numbers. That was science. It's a whirlwind. Those are all the prompts. The key thing to remember with science is that you can double up, 2 prompts per book, but they have to go in order. Military points. Military points are earned by fulfilling prompts in this bingo board. Each book can fill only 1 prompt, and each prompt is worth 10 points. So getting military points is super simple. You just pick a bingo square, read a book, it gets 10 points. There is an aspect of military. There's battles, which I will get to in a second after I go through all the points. That's a little complicated, but I'm going to go through all the prompts first. And each one gets you 10 points, and you can only use 1 with a single book. We have on our bingo board a book with a romance. Any romance. It doesn't have to be a romance book. If there is any romance in it at all, it counts. A book that is based on a true story. So this can be nonfiction, or it can be fiction based on a true story. Even if it's loosely based, retelling of whatever, that counts. A book that involves a journey. Interpret that however you wish. It can be like a literal traveling. It can be like an emotional journey, Interpret, stretch, do what you want. A book that is set in the future. A book with a water element. So like it can be on the cover. It can be elemental water magic. It can be just like any sort of place anything where water is like kind of prominent. Stretch it however you want. Spell your name on the cover. This is take literally all of the letters that are on the cover. Title, author, blurbs, anything, and find your name. On the front cover, not the back cover, but spell out your name. It can be your first name, your last name, your nickname, I don't care. Spell out your name on the cover. Air element, similar to water, but air. Set in summer. Even it mostly has a summer scene, I don't really care. Set in summer somehow. A retelling, this can be mythology, folklore, a classic retelling, a historical, I don't know, like a retelling. A poetry collection, a book with an adaptation, TV, film, whatever. A book set in a small town. There's a free space in the middle. A book with a fire element. A book that involves STEM. This could be a sci-fi. This also could be like an Allie Hazelwood romance. It could be, I don't know, the main character is a math teacher. I don't know if that book exists, but if so, I want to read it. We have involves magical realism. This can be urban fantasy. This can be like a literary, things are not quite as they seem type book. Interpret it how you wish. A book with a map in the front or in the back. A book with an earth element. A book set in winter. A non-Western setting, so not Europe, America, Australia, I'm going to say. It also can be non-Western inspired, so it can be a fantasy world. This is different from the set in the real world but not America and UK prompt, because we want like it could be like the Poppy War is like a fantasy China. So I think I haven't actually read the Poppy War. What am I thinking? Like Ray Bearer is like a West African inspired fantasy. So that would count even though it's not set in the real world. Book with a place name in the title. This can be a proper noun, the sort of Kaigan. Kaigan is a title, as a proper place name. Or it can be like the house across the lake. Lake is a place. Disability or mental health rep. Published before 1975. Set in a big city. And author of color. Those are the military prompts. There's the bingo board. You can only use 1 per book, but each one gets you 10 points. And the thing about the bingo board that I think is really cool is that your team is filling out the bingo board collectively. So you will have, if 5 people do different spaces on the top row, your team has achieved that bingo. So you will have access to a document that shows what prompts other people on your team have submitted in the military category. You also can discuss in the Discord, hey, I'm working on a book for this military prompt. Once your team gets a bingo, you can challenge another team to a battle. Confer with your team. once you achieve a bingo, confer with your team, decide who you want to attack together, and the team captain will officially declare the battle logistically. If a battle is declared, that bingo row or column or diagonal is cleared, so you cannot use one prompt for multiple bingos. For example, your team fills out the whole top row, declares a battle, that row is cleared, so now if you want to go for the left-hand column, you have to get the top left square again. That's just so that it doesn't like snowball so there's a million bingos. When your team declares a battle, you may pick your opponent. Whoever has the most military points per player on the team, so basically most books submitted in the military category, averaged per player on the team, wins the battle. The difference between the two teams' military points per player scores, so the difference, is the damage taken. That's subtracted from the losing team's total score. And I will announce the winner of every battle and loser in the Discord, so you can watch along, see what other teams are doing. That's military, that's battles. You want to build your military by reading military prompt books on the bingo board. And then once you get those bingos, you can attack other teams, and you might lose because you don't know what their military score is. But you also might win and cause them, like, deal damage to that other team. The last category is so simple. It's religion points. Religion points are earned by reading books in your team's genre. That's it. You just got to read in your team genre, and each book read is worth 10 points. So if you are in Rhodes, if you read a literary fiction and submit as religion points to literary fiction, you get 10 points, and it's that simple. Ephesus, just read a fantasy book, 10 points. Giza is mystery thriller, and Babylon is romance. Those are all the ways to earn points. You did it. You made it through. There is one last, well, I don't know, probably a million little rules things, but one more big thing to explain, and that is the wonders. So the wonders, think like 7 wonders of the world. This is what it's based on, the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Every book you read, no matter what category of points you submit it to, counts towards building your wonder. And the way that wonder is built is number of pages read. So each team's wonder is built when their average pages read per team member reaches 1,000. So basically, every time you submit a book, the number of pages of that book is being totaled up. That total is being divided by the number of players on the team. And so once that number reaches 1,000, so like not every player has to read 1,000 pages, but if one player reads a lot more than 1,000 pages, they'll make up for players who are reading less than 1,000 pages. So on average, when you reach 1,000 pages per player, the wonder will be built and your team will earn your advantage. As soon as a team builds their wonder, it'll be announced in the Discord, so you'll know how the other teams are doing towards that. And you can use the advantages. So the Rhodes advantage for building the Colossus. After the Colossus is built, Rhodes citizens can use 5 civics prompts per book instead of 3. You can use 2 extra points. That bumps up the total number of possible points for civics significantly. And you can quintuple up instead of just tripling up. For Giza, after the Great Pyramid is built, Giza citizens can skip around on the science prompt board. So, with one exception that I'm about to explain, you can pick any 2 prompts on the science board and combine those into one book. However, the exception is that the 2 prompts must be of different point values. So you can read like an audiobook, that's a 2-point prompt, and one of the 16-point prompts that's like not even connected at all, which you can't do before building the pyramid. But you can't read 2 16-point prompts and double up those, because that would get you 32 points, which just like mathematically makes it a little unfair. So that's why that rule exists. The 2 prompts have to be of different point values, but otherwise they can be anywhere on the board. The Temple of Artemis at Ephesus. After the Temple of Artemis is built, Ephesus's team bingos are not cleared from the board until a blackout is reached. what that means. So while I was explaining the battles, I said that like once you get a bingo, that bingo disappears and you have to get those squares again in order to use them a different bingo. Once Ephesus builds the temple, their bingos are not cleared. So like if you get the top row bingo after the temple, you then can reuse that top left corner square to get the left side of the board bingo. So like it takes fewer new books to earn a bingo, so you can declare battles faster. Once the whole board is blacked out, the board is cleared. And the Hanging Gardens at Babylon, after the Hanging Gardens are built, romance books, which are the Babylon's team genre, will be worth 15 points for religion for Babylon citizens, and the team will vote on a secondary team genre, so they can have like another team genre that will be 10 points. So for religion points, they now have the option of a romance book for 15 points or a book in their other team genre for 10 points. And those are the wonders and their advantages. Those are all the big rules. You did it. If you're confused, go to the document in the description and read through it. Go to the Discord, ask questions. I will so happily explain things to you. 2 big FAQs that I want to touch on, and there are a lot more FAQs in the rules document, so if you have any like questions, check there first, and then you can ask me in the Discord if it's not there. So the first big question is, how does the math work? Do bigger teams have an advantage? This is a huge question. I totally get it. Bigger teams, I worked really hard to make the math work so that bigger teams do not have an advantage. So, because the points are averaged. And if you want to know how the averages work specifically, like mathematically when the averages are done, it's explained in the document, and also like I will happily explain it to you in the Discord using examples and stuff. If you don't really care and you just want to trust me that it's fair, go for it. Trust me that it's fair. I'm glad you trust me.
Here is a very quick rundown of the math. If you don't want to know because math scares you, totally fine. Feel free to skip until you see purple shirt, sunglasses, me again. For each category, the points each player earns with each book are totaled and then divided by the number of players on the team. So each team has an average civics score, an average science score, an average military score, and an average religion score. During battles, it is the average military score that is compared, not the total score. To then calculate the total scores, those 4 scores are added together, and then the total damage taken, which is calculated as the difference between teams' average military scores at the time of battle, is subtracted from that total to get your final team score.
The other big FAQ I wanted to touch on is, what scores will I have access to during the Readathon? When will we get point updates? How do I know what team is winning? How do I know how my team is doing? So, each team, and this, you have to be on the Discord to have this. Really, the Discord's super important for this Readathon, so I hope you're there. Each team will have access to a spreadsheet that gives all of their team's scores, including total damage taken in battle. So your civics score, your science score, your military score, your religion score, your wonder score, your damage score, and then your total score are all in that document, and it updates automatically. So you can see how your team is doing in every single aspect at all times. You also will have access, just for fun, you'll have access to the other teams, each other team's wonder score. So their average pages read per player. Look at it, see if you can figure out their other scores based on that. You can't, but you can try. Just a fun sneak peek. You'll have access to those scores on the spreadsheet as well. They update automatically. Every 2 days, I will update with the current overall standings, 1st through 4th place, in the Discord. I will announce battles every time they happen, so battle winners and losers as they are declared. And when wonders are built, I'll announce it. But every 2 days, you have a full standing update. You also can always, at all times, see your team's points. The other thing is that if you want to know how many points you personally have contributed, there is a personal point tracker that you can use, but it's optional. You don't have to at all. That's in the links below as well. Okay, I feel like I feel like I did it all. You probably maybe will have had editing me pop in to like explain things clearer when I am like calm. So, you are here, you want to join, what do? There is links in the description. First, you have to officially sign up using the sign up form. That just asks you for a unique username that you'll use to track. It asks for your Discord so that I can make sure you get on the right team on the Discord, and then what team you're joining. There's also a link to the Discord, which you should totally join because we're going to be chatting and strategizing and lots of points updates, and everything will be happening over there. And then there is the Google Drive, which has the document that I've been reading from. So all of the rules, all of the FAQs, way more than I went through in this video. FAQs are answered, and I will add to that as more questions come up. It's got all the important links, the tracking form, and everything that you might need. It's got the personal points tracker, which is totally optional, but make a copy if you're using it. And then it has the beautiful, beautiful graphics that Ruby made. So there are TBR, Instagram, like social media templates for your TBRs. For each team, there's like team logos that you can use in any sort of like thumbnails or posts or whatever you want. It's got all of the prompt graphics and everything, so you can look at the prompts as much as you want. That's all there. That's, I think, all I have to say. I know this was a lot, but I promise it's going to be so fun and so worth it, and it's going to be so satisfying when you're like totally in it and understanding the rules and like strategizing with your team. And I am so excited to see what's going to happen with everything. Like, I will be watching my spreadsheet like it's a movie. And I'm so excited for it. So join us, choose your team wisely, and I will be chatting to you in the Discord and in the comments and everywhere else. And share this with all your friends who might want to join. Any like crossover board game and reader fans, maybe. I will see you in all the places, and I'm very excited, so join us. Bye.